actually not laughing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode. Let it go, can't hold me back anymore. I don't care if it's not that cold. I'm gonna pretend like it is. Cold never bothered me anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to today's special Texas Frozen edition. Okay, why? Because in Texas, we would like to be a little dramatic anytime there's a chance of it being cold. Okay, ever since Texas was hurt back in 2020, things just ain't been the same. Maybe it was the first month of 2021. All in all, to say, Texas does not like cold weather. Okay, Texans are very tough people. Okay. The origin of Texans, very tough. Okay, when you look at how hard it was here with the Native Americans and everything going on, and to try to settle the West, the things that had to be done, and just how tough it was. Okay, rough living. All right, Texas strong, if you will. But when it comes to cold weather, sometimes Texans just go, brr, it's a little chilly. Okay, they don't like to come out. But I'll be corrected. Okay. If you don't know, there is a Texas freeze warning. Okay. In central Texas, all over Texas. I know Dallas is dealing with some stuff. Kind of a freeze going on all over the Midwest. A little Arctic wind coming through. A little Arctic storm. I like to imagine whenever the news or the Weather Channel says Arctic chill, Arctic wind blowing through, I imagine a polar bear out there in the Arctic just going like it just kind of yawned and went and breathed out. And that wind just soaring across the Atlantic, dude, just coming towards us. I like to imagine the same wind that's hitting my face hit a little polar bear. Okay, came off of a polar bear's face. You know, it's just a cute way to look at things. Life is all about perspective. And sometimes I just like to imagine a bunch of little penguins just huddled up, you know, just out there living, feeling the same wind that I'm feeling. All right. It's almost my version of, you know, when guys and girls will be looking at the moon, and whatever thems will be looking at the moon, and they go, is she looking at that moon too? Okay. I like to think that, but the weather edition with these little furry friends. I don't know if penguins are really furry. Never touched one. Okay. Isn't that crazy that there's some animals that we just know and are so close to emotionally? I may never touch a penguin in my life. And for some reason, just having that realization makes me sad. I don't know why. Okay. There's plenty of animals I'm never going to touch, but it just makes me sad to think like, oh, I might never touch a penguin. And a penguin might never touch me. Okay. There's some animals that I'm okay with never touching. Koala bear, fine with that. But you know what I do fuck with? Those little koala crackers that are like yogurt filled. Ooh, I like my koala with a little bit of gurt inside of it, a little bit of yogurt. Okay. And don't make that creepy. Okay. Koalas are disgusting little creatures. All right. They have the best PR team there ever was. All right. Because they're really, what are they all carrying? Syphilis. Okay. I think it was Big Bear. Okay. That just pushed these koala bears on them. And the fact that we just called this little thing a bear made it so much cuter. Okay. Because if it was a koala squirrel, or a koala, just a koala thing, we wouldn't fuck with it. Because have you ever heard the way a koala bear sounds? It's one of the most disgusting sounds ever. There's like, it's like this real guttural sound. Nothing cute about it. You hug a koala, you're walking home with syphilis. Try explaining that to your wife at night, okay? When she's just like, hey, I just pissed hot. What the fuck is going on? Because I've been good, And you got to go, listen, you're never going to believe this, but I had the opportunity to hug a koala bear. And that's what happened. Okay? How many families were ruined by koala bears is the real question. Okay? Because the number is not zero. I'll tell you that much. Okay? Look at it this way. How many families were helped by koala bears and how many were ruined? I guarantee koala bears have been more homewreckers than anything they've done for the morale and substance of a family. Okay? At least a good old-fashioned American family. Okay? Which is a dying breed nowadays. All right? But you know who hasn't ruined families? Penguins. Okay? Penguins are nothing but pure joy in my life. Okay? And I've never even touched one. And I feel like it's more likely that I'm going to get the opportunity to touch a koala and not a penguin. And you know what's fucked up? I'll probably not touch that koala. Because you only live once. What am I going to be, the one guy when a koala bear extends its little hands and I just go, I'm good. Not going to take that free drink. I'm good. Okay? Not going to be that weirdo. I'm not going to be the guy off that old car insurance commercial where he goes, there's a hot chick driving. And he goes, are you insured? Yeah. By survival? No, I can't take that ride. Do you guys know that commercial I'm talking about? If you haven't seen the old survival insurance commercial, it was the pinnacle, the cornerstone of my childhood was this survival commercial. It gave me a false belief that hot women were going to be picking up rugged men off the road. First of all, I get why so many serial killers killed women in the 80s. It's because they're picking up these rugged men right off the road, just picking up these men, okay, and offering them rides out in the middle of nowhere. It was so easy to snatch someone up back in the 80s, the 70s. People were still dumb, okay? People trusted people. Offering a ride. Imagine being so cocky that your car broke down and you're walking in the middle of the desert, some hot woman offers you a ride and you can't take that ride because it's not insured by a car. It's not insured by an insurance company that you fuck with. Okay? Listen, how you are you're a stressful man. You're too much, okay? You're difficult. Honestly, wouldn't want to be friends with someone like that. And how you're in no position to really be that condescending. You're out walking in the middle of the desert. Your car broke down. You probably don't have survival. Is survival even around anymore? Goated commercials, by the way. And if you're wondering, Evan, why are you using terms like goated? Because I'm hip as fuck. Okay. I might be in my 30s, but I'm hip. Check this out. Look at this sweater I'm wearing, this fleece sweater that I've been rocking this episode. You want to know something? Hey, you want to know a secret? Come closer. Let me tell you something. Hey, let me tell you something real quick. I've been wearing this sweater for 5 days and no one has noticed. Same sweatpants too. Okay. That's what the Texas freeze is all about. Okay. I've been wearing this since Saturday. Okay. It's Tuesday today. All right. I don't give a shit and I'll continue to wear it until I can't wear it anymore. I love it. All right. I bought it off Amazon for I think $27 and I'm going to wear it till I die in it. Okay. I've been wearing the same sweatpants too. Okay. Listen, I'll work out in my underwear. I don't give a fuck. Okay. They're staying kind of clean. All right. And when there's a freeze, who cares? You just wear whatever you got. All right. When you're insured by survival. Okay. Has anybody asked these penguins if they even want to live in the Arctic? Okay. I was watching them on planet Earth. They didn't seem too happy to just live there. Like they didn't seem too stoked that they were just dealing with chilling blizzards while they had to sit on a goddamn egg. Penguins need to stand up for themselves, especially the men penguins. Okay, where are these female penguins all at? All right, while you're sitting on this egg, what is she doing? Getting another egg? Stay woke, kinks. All right, stay woke. Penguins got it all backwards, dude. You should be in the tropics. You ever seen Surf's Up? Penguin seems happy as fuck, just out there surfing. All right. Now I'll tell you that we'll talk a little bit about the cold weather right now. It is pretty chilly outside. I'll be honest with you. I think right now it is. It's 30. Okay, it's 30. It's not bad. All right. This morning when I woke up, 16. It's cold. All right. And you know what it teaches me? Going outside, I instantly, when I go outside, I go, oh yeah, I wouldn't make it that far. All right. And this is like the reality of our civilization. We have a generation of people who have so much anxiety and stress and depression because we have no real skills. That's the truth of the younger generation. All right. And I work hard and I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle. I work hard on being able to hunt and to fish and to provide and to train. I'm fighting. It's so silly when you stop and think of objective things that you do. Like I've been boxing years. Okay. And it's one of those silly things where I'm like, oh, I'm so soft that I just put pillows on my hand and I go beat up another pillow and I pretend it's someone just out there training. Okay. That's so dumb. Okay. And so I feel like I'm putting effort, but I think that's why there's so much anxiety and stress because we secretly know that this could all go away. All right. Let's not get too serious, but it's like, gotta be scary. If you're sitting at home, you're addicted to your phone, you're watching all these pornos. Okay. All of them. I wonder what the number is of what's on the internet. Now you couldn't keep up with it. You're a savant. Like you're just someone who is into the finer things in life. You're just swirling around your wine, trying to watch all the different genres. Couldn't keep up with it anymore. Okay. There was probably a time where you could be at a cocktail party, no pun intended, and could reflect and bring up, be like, oh yeah, Beverly, 1981, blah blah blah. It was a great year. Now it's so niche down to where you don't even know what's going on. Okay, and I think that's what the problem is. We're either gonna have to commit fully to AI, or we got to get back to the basics. All right. But it's cold outside. Okay. I was out there. I took the trash out. I like to pretend. I like to make up scenarios in my head and go, okay, if I was stuck out here, what would I do right now? And I was like, I don't know, because I can't light a fire. Because my initial thought is I was like, I think at that time it was like 17 degrees. And I go, I am so cold right now. I'm wearing sweatpants and my favorite fleece jacket. Sweater, if you will. I don't really know the difference between a jacket and a sweater, and people who kind of do, kind of obnoxious. All right. People who have to specify between a cardigan and a sweater, get out of here. All right. Who are you doing this for? Anyway, I go out there and I'm like, I am so cold right now. And I go, Evan, but what would you do if this was survival, if you had to survive right now? I said, fuck, I got to find shelter. But if everything's so cold out here, I got to make a fire. Okay. I'm instantly going to have to make a fire. And then I go, Evan, but you don't even know how to make a fire with 2 sticks. All right. I've seen it quite a bit on like Life Below Zero, more of that show Alone and Survivor Man. And that's what it would be, is I would have to make fire instantly. Like I start thinking about it. And I get that would give you a calming feeling. And this is part of it with the freeze. We joke, but back in, I believe, 2020, the big freeze in Texas, there was people sadly passed away. And part of it was just so cold and they didn't have a lot of options. Like some people's homes were so cold. Some people sadly went into the car and turned the engine on and tried staying warm like that, and then ended up passing out because of the emissions of it, where you're not supposed to breathe the same air in like a closed environment in a car. It was sad, terrible. So there's a real fear of if the power goes out. That's kind of the number one thing. If you live in a place that gets really cold, is how do you deal with not having Netflix? That's the real fear. Boredom. That is this generation's fear, is boredom. Is not like staying warm or anything. It's like, oh, well, I got to download a bunch of movies for the iPad and have a way to charge it. That's initially, and I know that because that's where my brain went. Okay. But realistically, I went, okay, I got to get a couple things just to take care of those baselines. Because they would have been, you feel like a victim. If you get out with your power and you don't have food stocked up and you don't have water and you don't have something to charge a phone in case of emergencies, you start feeling kind of helpless, and something for a heater. Okay. Which I was looking at a lot of generators and stuff like that. I didn't end up getting one because I'm like, I'm not about to pay $700, $800 right now just for this thing that's going to sit there in my garage. I'm not made of money. All right? I'm not going to sit there. I'm not at that point in my life where I'm going to just invest in this least, whatever. I don't need it right now. But I did go out. I got an extra tank of propane, a little 40-gallon propane. I'll be honest with you. I sat at Tractor Supply in a line of about 10 to 15 people. Okay. All of them had giant propane tanks. And I was like, oh shit, what the fuck is going on? Just getting ready. But I come to find out, because I'm a chatty guy. I like to talk to old people. There's a lot of older people. A lot of them lived in trailers that only ran on propane. So they're like, I need to just make sure if this happens, I got plenty of propane. A lot of them getting it for their parents who were, not able to come out, and that's beautiful. Okay. But I got extra propane. I bought a 5-gallon thing off Amazon of like water storage, BPA. All right. You got to keep a BPA free, not BPA full. And what else did I get? Stocked up on some food, and you feel good. You go, okay, now I'm ready. I got a bunch of those little chargers. I could get through a couple days of cold weather. But that's the real fear, is if the grid did stop and you're out of power for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, when is it okay for me to start hunting neighborhood pets? That's the real question. Because there will be a point where I don't know if I start with cats, although there's one cat on this block that I am partial to. I might let it slide. But when do you start hunting the animals in your area? What's nice is there are a lot of deer around here. They're a little skinny, but I could take out some deer. But it's like, when do you commit to the grid has fallen? When do you admit we're in the apocalypse now? We're in the end game. Because that's a weird gray line. You don't want to be the first person to commit to being in the apocalypse. And then it's just like you take over someone's area, and then they're just like, whoa, Evan. And then they like call 911 on their phone. And they're like, yes, and they're like, we'll be right over. And it's like, oh shit, my bad. I thought it started. I'm good. Let's try this again. Because that's the other thing. You don't want to be the first one, but you also don't want to be the last. You got to find this nice medium area where things start getting wild, and then you can blow dart someone. Okay. Just something to think about with the future. But I'll be honest. Last night I did a show. Shout out to Jack Schutze, a prolific comedian and comedy show producer, out in San Marcos, Central Texas, all over really. And he put me on a show last night, last minute, 20-minute spot. And I showed up to this thinking last night there was going to be one person in the audience. I showed up, packed room, 80 people, I think were in there. 80 to 100 maybe. I'm not good at math, but it was packed out completely. I went there with the mindset, I'm going to work on some dumbass jokes for a couple people that are in the audience. I'm going to workshop some shit. Ended up, I had probably half material, half crowd work. Was one of the only times I didn't record my set. I'm kind of going back to like not filming my sets and putting out B-level, C-level stand-up clips, because I'm just like, I'm not the greatest comedian in the world, and I don't think I'm even top tier. I'm just like I'm working it. I'm in the thick of it. I'm in the trenches right now, just trying to get better. And I almost want to stop putting out stand-up clips and just start putting out more content that I can create that I might be a little bit better at. Does that make sense? And I feel like stand-up is such a live experience that it really doesn't translate in clips. Like, I don't really like stand-up specials as much. I like them, I'll watch them and everything, but the enjoyment is not anywhere near actually being in the room of comedy. It doesn't look as good. It doesn't sound as good. I hosted for the LMAOF, the next crop of Austin comedians, and they sent me my tape from it. They gave me it. Even the original LMAOF that I did. It sounds like bombing because the crowd noise is down too low. Like I'm sure I'm delusional in some ways, but the idea, like the way it sounded just didn't make the joke sound good. So there's such a thing lost whenever you're watching something versus doing it. But all that to be said, it was great last night. I had a lot of fun. Didn't film it, but there was a quote unquote homeless guy in the corner who, we'll just say he had a nomadic lifestyle, might have been there just hiding from the cold, and he made my set so much better than it was going if he wasn't there. Because yeah, it was pretty funny. And of course it was the time that I didn't have a camera going. But yeah, I expected one person, a whole packed out room. So Texas is changing. All right. Cause I used to, in the first year that I was here, cold weather meant no one is going to be at the shows. I was supposed to have a show tonight, got canceled. Because of the cold. And that's fine. I kind of expected this where you kind of shut down. And it's interesting because there's so many people who, like you think about it and I'm like, it's not really that cold. I mean, it's cold, but it's not snowing. There's not rain and all this stuff. It's just Texas is not built for this kind of stuff. And they're trying to adapt and get better to never have what happened happen again. But that was also a freak snowstorm that everybody just has PTSD about. But as far as I know, I don't think Austin lost any power. We're still out here rocking in the free world. Okay. Something that just happened. Trump just won the Iowa Caucus. Load of caucus, if you ask me. By a landslide. This is how you know where things are. He won by something like 51%, 52%, which is crazy. Vivek Ramaswamy, I think is his last name. He's been kind of someone that I actually enjoy listening to. Vivek, outside, not a career politician, but also almost too good of a talker to where he's almost too charming and too good at talking. Like he's being cute. It almost feels like. He was kind of the one person that I was like thinking like, oh, well, let's see how he does. 7%, people just don't fuck with him. Okay. He has a decent following. But this is my take. This is what I think is going to happen. I think Trump is going to have as his VP. I think he's going to go with either Vivek Ramaswamy or Nikki Haley to bring in that girl vote. Okay, get a girl vice principal, pretty much a girl vice principal at this point. Okay. But it's wild. It's wild to see all of this stuff happening. Like Trump and Biden are going to be the presidential candidates again. Do you know how crazy it is to have a situation where the current sitting president doesn't he's not going to get pushed out, especially when it's this kind of situation where he's obviously asleep at the wheel. It's been a weekend at Bernie's situation, and the inmates are running the asylum. All right. It is insanity, the world that we live in. And I would love for RFK to get in there and to mix things up. There was a thing that I saw that RFK Jr. leads all presidential contenders in favorability. This is one poll. There's 1,000 polls. This is why you can't trust polls, because I don't think I've ever met anybody who is just sitting at home doing polls. Besides like old people who are just doing their fucking Disney princess polls and shit. Ironically, probably way too many men in their 50s and 60s doing some of these Disney princess polls at home. Okay. They're like, well, fuck it. I want to know. Pocahontas, I am pretty outdoorsy, you know? RFK, if there was going to be a independent president, and I think it's a great thing that he's independent, At this point, if I was going to vote right now, he has my vote. I think that's where I'm at with presidential candidates. And I don't think that's alarming to anybody. He obviously, Biden, terrible. Democratic Party, terrible. Okay. We went a little too liberal. We went a little too far out there. Extreme shit. Okay. Republican, a little too extreme. I mean, I would lean towards that a little more only because of how wild the Democratic Party has gotten with some of these things and just the state of implementing a lot of what's happening in our country. It's obviously not working. Open borders, what we're focusing on. We're so focused on the most minute gender issues that like we're putting so much rocket fuel. Like if you were playing SimCity and you were like, what's the most important thing? Okay, all right, well, I think the most important thing would be what color flowers we're planting and all this shrubbery. And it's like, well, okay, but we have all these piping issues and infrastructure and we're building new and we're losing money. We're on a deficit. Our city doesn't have a lot of, productivity and there's crime rates are going through the roof and squirrels have been eating all the power lines. And there's like, no. The most important issue right now we should be funding is what color flowers are we planting in this SimCity world? Okay. Open the borders, let more squirrels in. We'll pay for their health care of all these squirrels so their teeth get stronger and they keep nibbling on the power lines. But that's the number one issue. Okay. It's gotten so backwards because it's become all, what is that term that I'm looking for? It's not, it's a certain kind of politics, but it's basically we're playing pretend with politics. We're so focused on the most superficial shit just to get votes and to appease certain demographics. And it's doing it, rotting the core of a country. Bars. It's whatever you want, bars. I don't know. I can be wrong all the time. But RFK, the reason why I like him is his how much he opposes big pharma. Okay, and all these pharmaceutical companies that we're dealing with all these repercussions of stuff. You want to look at all these, like I think if we fixed the pharmaceutical companies and just pharmacology in general, big health insurance companies, how Western medicine is structured, the pay structure, everything with health insurance and pharmaceutical companies, doctors, visits, our whole look on medicine in the West. I know I've said it ad nauseum. One of the reasons why I didn't want to be a nurse, why I didn't want to be in healthcare was because I realized how corrupt this is. They don't give a shit. They just want people to stay sick to make money off of them. It is a business, okay? And business is booming, okay? So why would we fix all these issues with fast food and all these chemicals and stuff that they put in food and the way it's all structured if it's just adding money to the bottom line? You're a number, okay? And one thing I like about RFK is the fact that he is so aggressive with going after a lot of these big businesses and all the funding that all these pharmaceutical companies and health insurance companies provide to political candidates. So it's like we need to restructure a lot of shit. And I feel like you would hope having a leader that is so aggressive with pushing down these companies and giving them repercussions that we would get something good out of it. So that's where I'm at right now. Not that you gave a shit, but it's my podcast. Okay. We'll end on this topic. Joe Koy. This is the craziest situation. Not really that crazy. Joe Koy hosted the Golden Globes. A comedian usually hosts the Golden Globes. It is a impossible job, I think, to host the Golden Globes. Joe Koy, whether you like his particular style of comedy, is a phenomenal comedian. When it comes to getting big laughs and having an audience, he does phenomenal. He struggled in this situation. 10 days notice. to host the Golden Globes. And a lot of people were giving him flack for this. I thought certain parts, I watched it first without anybody's like kind of seeing it. I was laughing at certain points, just at the way you laugh at a comedian who's bombing on stage and you're watching them deal with the bomb. One thing that I hate to say I love to do is watch my friends struggle on stage. It's just a funny pastime. And I know they enjoy when I'm struggling also, because it's just like a funny thing that happens and certain jokes start bombing and you just see them adapt and deal with it. So it's amusing. I love watching my friends murder and kill. But it's also just fun to watch a weird social situation. That's what it is, what's happening. But Joe Koy started bombing at the Golden Globes. I think they shouldn't hire a comedian to do that job or pay him so much money to where it is just stupid. Like, yeah, I'll do it. I don't give a shit. Dude, I would host the Golden Globes. Ricky Gervais obviously set the standard for the greatest Golden Globes monologue of all time. If you haven't seen it, look at Ricky Gervais' last Golden Globes monologue. Phenomenal. Okay. He killed it. He didn't give a shit. And that's kind of how you have to do it. The worst thing about bombing in my experience is when you're letting the bomb affect you and you care that it's happening. Like you're trying to do good and you start bombing and you let it affect you and you start messing up and your timing and everything. That's felt like that started happening a little bit with Joe Koy. You could feel I want you guys to laugh at this. I want to have a great set in this impossible situation. And the one thing some people were upset about was him throwing the writers under the bus, saying, I didn't write this joke. This person wrote this joke. I don't know who wrote that joke, blah, blah, blah. And he was kind of belling on it. I feel like even him in hindsight, he might have been like, I should have just went through it and knew what kind of a hell gig this was going to be and just kept going with the jokes and not caring and not trying to be liked by the audience. I feel like the audience would have responded better to that than to just try to get them to laugh at the jokes and being like, come on, why aren't you guys laughing? That's also one thing that I hate when you see a comedian do when they're bombing and they go, hey, lighten up, guys. Okay, these are just jokes. All right. Or they justify their jokes not working and saying, I just did these jokes last night and they crushed. It's a weird thing to do. What else was I going to say about this? You know what it is also? That crowd can't laugh at not shitty jokes, but anything possibly controversial because the camera can't be on them. And they know the cameras are pointed at them. And they just have to sit there and go and smile. They can't laugh too hard at a joke, even if it is funny, because it's going to upset someone. Granted, Joe Koy said probably the dumbest Barbie's joke I've ever heard when he was like, Oppenheimer was a blah, 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 blah. And Barbie was a movie about a doll with big boobies. I feel like there could have been a good misdirection joke in there, you know? It could have just punched up a little bit, you know? But I think it's a lose-lose situation. They're not going to laugh. They don't want to laugh. They're not there to watch comedy. That's kind of the other thing is I've had that happen where you show up to do a gig and the audience doesn't know there's about to be comedy. Rarely people are like, there's not many other professions where you can show up to and there's about to be a surprise version of that profession. Like you're never going to show up to a place and there's a surprise basketball game taking place at the sports bar that you're in. Like they're never going to do that. If anything, sometimes there's music and you can talk through music. But if you're talking in a bar while there's a comedy show going on, it's rough. When like people aren't paying attention and talking over you and everything, it's like a flash mob comedy show, and that shit is rough sometimes. None of these people at the Golden Globes wanted to be there for comedy. They wanted to be there for publicity, to find out if they won, to network, and all of that. So they don't want to laugh at it, because if they laugh at a certain joke, maybe some manager, maybe some other person was like, oh, well, you laughed at that. Wow, how inconsiderate. Hollywood is so fucking stupid. Okay. They play all these games and then they wonder why everything's bombing in the box office and just not doing well, because they have all these agendas and things they want to do. Hollywood is so dumb. Okay. I remember getting on, and I guarantee this is why I didn't get picked. I was on some game show. They had me on it and everything. And in the back, they were trying to get everyone to be all animated and be like, yeah, so when you're back here, like, you know, really, like, they would want you just to be super bubbly and everything with the other people that are going to be on the show before going out on the show. And every time the like, what would you call them? Not manager, but the person in charge of the set that would come pick people and everything to go out and be on the show, everybody would act so fake and be like, oh my God, so where are you from? Okay, that's amazing. And then like smiling really big, even though I was talking to someone like 5 minutes earlier and they were just like, yeah, you know, no, I do this and blah, blah, blah. And they were just like super chill. And then they would turn into a fake fuck as soon as like one of the people, you know, came and like was like looking at people to see like, oh, what kind of personality. And I was doing stand-up for like a few years, and I remember being just like, no, I'll be good if I go out there. I'll be funny, I'll be entertaining. But it's just all this fake shit. Like it's so dumb. And then people asking other people for just the dumbest shit ever. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's not go down that path. We had a fun episode. Shout out to the koalas, the penguins, polar bears, all the Texans freezing right now. And yeah, guys, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're first time, feel free to give it a like. Feel free to give it a comment, subscribe. We do some silly goose stuff sometimes, okay? And remember, no matter what, I still love you.